Six times the charm. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Zeitgeist. Recently, CIG has released its first Q&A about the Polaris, and I have to give my, oh gosh, opinion. The Polaris is, in my eyes, better, but worse than what I thought it could be. But again, most of this info is subject to change and will probably not be completely representative of the final product. Also, we'll be getting another Q&A on Friday, so more is yet to be seen. Anyways, on to the Polaris. There were a lot of main concerns I had with the ship that were answered in this Q&A, and I'm both relieved and disappointed with some of the answers. First off was the news that I was both anticipating and dreading. The Polaris' hangar can apparently only house a ship that's saber-sized or smaller. I was hoping to hear that it would be large enough to house a Redeemer, but from those specs there's an 11-meter difference between the two ships, so I doubt that's going to happen even if things with the Polaris do change. I'm also confused about, from the multiple pictures and animations of the Polaris, the hangar holds a Gladius, and it looks like it has a tons of space left. Seeing the Gladius is 20 meters long, you'd think there was at least another 15 or so meters of space left, but maybe there's something else I'm not considering. Possibly mass limit would be a thing to concern over, but considering people are likely to put cargo on their hangar bay, I'm not sure if that's the thing. Maybe it's wingspan, we'll just have to see. Either way, this was a disappointing thing to hear. Moving on to talk of how the torpedoes are going to function, and it's basically how I thought they would act. They're just bigger, slower versions of missiles that are also susceptible to things like countermeasures. They finished this off by saying that you really shouldn't try using torpedoes against things like fighters, but that's a no-brainer, so let's just continue. CIG also talked about how the Polaris' main role was to take on smaller to medium-sized capital ships, and again, that's probably what most of us assumed when we first heard it was focused on using torpedoes. They then went on to talk about what it would be weak against, and I'm really glad that they talked about this. This was one of my main concerns of the ship, being that it would be weak to a swarm of fighters, but from what I'm telling us, it's that ships like the Hornet probably won't have much of an effect on the Polaris, and the things to watch out for would be the bombers. That's great to hear. Originally, I thought this ship would be easily swarmed from fighters, but now it looks like they're just more of a nuisance to the Polaris than anything. Moving on was the question that was probably asked the most, and that was, can I use the Polaris to fulfill other roles? And the answer was sure, but just remember this is a warbird first and not a hauler. I fully expected this answer, along with everyone else, really. Now, I do wonder if you replace the landing bay with cargo plates, how much cargo would it add? I hope it gets answered in the next Q&A, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next came the question of, can I fly this ship solo? Well, the answer CIG gave was yes, but as with every other large ship Q&A, they also said that working with a skeleton crew would detriment your performance as a military ship. Next, we got confirmation that the Polaris can land on planets, which is nice to hear. This gives it a bit more viability as a large group transport ship, and I'm betting in the future we'll see captains landing dozens of soldiers planet-side with a Polaris. Then we also got a bit of info about the ship's shields. When info for the Polaris first came out, we noticed its shields were labeled as large shields and not capital shields. The answer to this was due to the Polaris' size not really being close enough to a capital ship's, that its power wouldn't really run a capital ship-sized shield efficiently. I myself am glad to hear this because I was worried about a lot of how much a beating this ship could take. But from previous answers about the ship's shields and weaknesses, there's not much to really worry about, with my main concerns being fighter swarms being subsided for the time. Now, the last question asked isn't the most important, but we got confirmation that you can land in the hangar while the Polaris is still in motion. It's just going to have to be a skilled thing to pull off, which I'm sure we would all expect from something like that to happen. So, now that this is done, what did you guys think of this Q&A? Did it answer any questions you wanted to know, and are there any questions you still want to be answered? We'll just have to wait until Friday to find out, and I'll be here to inform all of you about it. Anyways, that's it for this show. Thanks for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next one.